Stories on Reddit don't usually stick with me, but this story, which won Best Title from 2015 to December 2016, lives inside my brain rent-free. Now, this was posted on Reddit 8 years ago, and when I saw it 2 years ago, it was the most upvoted story on r/nosleep. For those of you who don't know, r/nosleep is a subreddit for posting horror fiction or non-fiction stories. And me being addicted to horror stories at the time, it's not really a surprise why I decided to read. It was short and it took not even half an hour to finish. But the next few weeks, it stuck to my mind, and it was all I could think about. I tried retelling people the story, failing to express how and why it stuck to me. Today, hopefully, I can explain and dissect this story that has been so burnt into my memory to its fullest. Before we begin, I highly recommend you read the story yourself. I linked the post in the description below, but without any further ado, let's begin. A package marked Return to Sender by user Manan Liset. The story starts with our protagonist ranting about his wannabe YouTuber/vlogger neighbor and how tiring and annoying it is to hear his shenanigans outside. His neighbor does weird YouTube stunts and challenges you would expect from 8 years ago when this story was posted, such as the Cinnamon Challenge or Ice Bucket Challenge, and all the while screaming from the top of your lungs for fame. Wow guys, saying all those things really brings me back. One day, the neighbor asks the protagonist if he could get his mail, as he was going out of town for a few weeks. The protagonist had a peace of mind knowing his neighbor wouldn't be there to cause chaos, and for the next few days, it continued as normal with him receiving junk mail and a few bills, until one day, he received a cardboard box with Return to Sender written in all red. The protagonist, having trouble getting the heavy box up the stairs and through the front door, decided to leave it in his garage. Opening the garage door was a pain in the ass, to say the least, where you have to kick and smack it a bunch before it rolls open. Having a good grip on the box and finding it inconvenient to put down, the protagonist decides to kick the garage door open while holding the box. On the third kick, the protagonist loses his grip and the light cracking noise was heard. Thinking nothing of it and letting the neighbor assume it arrived broken, the protagonist unstocks the garage door with no box in hand and it opens with a loud screech. The protagonist leaves the box in the corner of the room where he forgot about it, until a few days later, when a foul sweet odor was coming from the garage. Thinking it was cow or pig meat in the box based from the smell, decided to open it to see what was inside. He was met with strong and, I quote, waves of piss, sweat, heat, and putrefaction, end quote. The protagonist, not being able to bear the smell, ran out of the garage for fresh air, and later returned with his nose plugged, equipped with gloves, a garbage bag, and with a ready-to-clean and get this over with attitude. But he soon finds out he didn't need to touch or clean anything. There was meat in the box, although it wasn't cow or pig like he thought, but instead it was his neighbor. Now, I don't know about you, but if I saw that, I'd probably have nightmares for the rest of my life. The cops were called and the protagonist was interrogated, cause, come on, who else is there to suspect? The body was literally found in his garage, but that was quickly changed though, as an irrefutable evidence that proves he was innocent was found: a vlogging camera. The police showed the protagonist the video either out of pity or because it wouldn't hurt anyone anyway, or both. Video started with the neighbor sitting in a box telling the camera he was going to ship himself across state lines. That's right, this is the I mailed myself in a box video challenge that was popular 8 or 7 years ago, and all of them were fake, just so you know. In this box with him were pee bottles, food, flashlights, all the necessities you need to survive. His friend sealed him up and dropped him off for shipment. We aren't told when, but presumably for the next few days or hours, the neighbor recorded a few short clips about his progress. But on the last clip, the box toppled over and he broke his neck, and just like that, he was dead. The camera continued recording until either the memory was full or the battery died. There's one thing the protagonist didn't mention to the police after watching the video. One thing that he will take to the grave and forever haunt him until his last breath. Just after the neighbor died, he could hear the familiar screech of his garage door. I think that all of this happened because of an accident and the protagonist didn't even know about it until a few days later is what makes it scary. There is no malicious intent or bloodlust for killing. In typical horror, you could identify the threat and the protagonist either hides from it or tries to fight it or runs away. The depiction of the outer and physical threat is horrifying in general, but this story doesn't use that. In this story, it's all about the inner turmoil it leaves the protagonist and what it feels to take a life by accident, and living with it for the rest of your life. The fact that just a small accident that could have easily been avoided if he had just placed the box down before trying to open the garage door was the difference between the neighbor living and dying is a really horrifying thing to realize. Any small action we take can lead into a big effect. Additionally, the sentence that revealed the cause of death was what I really remembered from the story. It gave me chills the first time I read it, and I tried to find stories like this before, but ultimately giving up. However, I never really got it out of my mind. If you guys enjoyed my analysis and quick summary, be sure to leave a like and subscribe.